The problem with 911 turbos is the sound, and I'm not sure why, but when or even if someone puts on a really loud exhaust like the, is it Akrapovic, I think that's how you pronounce it, exhaust, it sounds louder, but it doesn't necessarily sound better. So what you'll get is you'll get more booming and lower tones, but you don't get the same quality of sound that you would, for instance, with the 911 GT3, because it doesn't rev as high. You know, it'll rev to 6,500 RPM, and the strange thing is that you might get another car, for instance, an R32 Nissan Skyline. I think they only rev to about 6,500 RPM as well. And when you put even a straight, you put on a decent exhaust, straight through exhaust, like for like, you get a much better sound. So let's have a listen to, well, what. So as you can see, it's louder. The exhaust is more free-flowing because you can even hear when the driver lifts off, you get the popping and crackling, and it's with an Akrapovic exhaust, so it's one of the better, higher quality, louder exhausts. And yet it lacks that sound that really loud, higher pitch sound that you get with I don't know, for instance, whether other makes with turbo engines, whether it's a BMW, whether it's a Supra, it just sounds disappointing. And I say this as someone who has a Mezger with a turbo attached to it, so and they just do not sound good when they're recorded. And this is the thing, and it's in person. They sound loud, they sound boomy, every aspect of the exhaust sounds louder, but you don't get the high pitch frequencies. So let's have another listen to a different So one thing that's important to note is that you can hear a loud car being recorded, and it's loud because when it's approaching the camera, when the exhaust sound is firing away from the car, you can still hear it. That's how loud it is. So the car is loud, and as the car was approaching in the first video, even though the camera was facing the wrong direction, you could hear the car already before it passed. So you knew the car was loud, and that's the proof that the exhaust is loud. But it's as if the car is the driver's changing gear at 4,000 RPM. It's before it hits the real impactful part of the car. And it's like if it was any other turbo power driven engine, whether it's a V8, an inline six, a straight four, or flat four, that those cars would sound incredible, and not just loud, but you'll hear that almost that metallic noise that you get from the engine. And I don't know why it is with the flat six turbo created by Porsche, whether it's Mezger or whether it is a later I can't remember what engine it is now that they have, but when it's a flat six turbo from Porsche, I should say, not Porsche, but I say Porsche, it lacks something. It lacks something in the tone of quality. And I've heard a 911 turbos in the flesh, and you think, that sounds like a loud car, and then you see, it's a 911 turbo, and it's loud, it's woofly, it booms, but it just lacks that higher pitch sort of singing, wailing, screaming noise that you get from, say, for instance, the GT3, the 911 GT3, which revs to, is it 8,500 RPM or 8,000 RPM? It lacks the same sort of screaming sound you get from, say, a Lambo V10 or a V8 Ferrari. Okay, so let me know your thoughts.